business. I know a ton of people are in here are waiting for it. And here's us not dodging questions right now.
Me too. I'm waiting for it too.
And that's the problem.
So yeah, account linking. This is probably the biggest question we get. It is also one of the biggest features we could ever work on. Like when I was talking earlier about trying to make sure that or how we had to change to make sure that we could launch on all these platforms at the same time. That's incredibly hard. Trying to make sure that we can then link accounts behind the scenes across all the platforms in a way that everybody thinks is great, that solves kind of the problems that we're trying to solve, that everybody's super behind. Super huge.
And when you say that everyone is super behind, we're not saying
it's not just us.
Our developers and players. There are many more parties
involved
in this
than
just us and you guys, right?
We need to do it in a way that's going to work well for everybody, that's actually going to solve the problems people have. So what I can say is that we really want to bring this feature out. It is probably one of the most challenging features that we've worked on. I know it's been a long time. We've wanted to bring it out for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to make progress on it. So, I don't want to promise when, or I don't want to promise, things could change. Again, things could change rapidly, but it is something that is as important. Yeah, as important to us as it is to the players. I want all of my accounts linked on the same.
It is only a good thing for us too.
That's right.
There's no like secret reason why we would want to hold that up. It helps. It's a big win for us.
Yeah, it'd be great.
And for the community, obviously.
What I want to say is that we are working on it. We have been working on it in the past. Things have changed before. Some approaches we thought were going to work turned out that they weren't going to work, and so we've had to kind of adjust from that. Yeah. And I'm hoping that we're going to be able to show you some more concrete, give you some more concrete answers about that later. Soon. TM. Really
we're
big
gonna bring
TM.
That back.
Really
bring it back soon.
Really
TM.
big TM.
Yep, used to be a meme. We kind of forgot about it, but now we're back. Soon TM.
No, it's good. It's good.
One thing's for sure is it's closer to being released than it ever was before.
That's absolutely true.
Every day, it's closer to being released than it ever was before. But seriously, it's being worked on. It's coming. We can't say when. We don't know when. But
and how we think it's going to be might change. The thing that I can say that I can promise you is that it is top of mind when we're looking at stuff that we're doing. It is something that we talk about every week. Absolutely every week we talk about this. So it's very important to us.
All right. So
Grave Rage, hey! I love seeing the names.
That first badge.
That's amazing.
That means he was one of the first 10 subscribers to this channel ever.
Amazing.
That's crazy.
Amazing.
You know who else has that first badge?
Nice.
Yeah, I was there on day one. You know who else has it? Left stick. Yep, he's got it.
Awesome.
Okay, so there it is. Yeah, maybe I know you wish that we just tell us when, and we don't know when.
I wish I could say.
I really want to say maybe this year.
You really say
that's why
anything
I said maybe.
That you really want to say.
Hey, I really want to say that, so I'm gonna say that maybe this year. Let's hope. I don't know. There's no.
Just with the big blanket disclaimer, this message not approved.
Fair enough. Realistically, we just don't know when, and it's not up to us. So. But it's happening. It's moving.
We are working on it. It is definitely on. It is definitely in our plan, and it is not something that we're trying to delay on. So
here's another one that we answer every time we do this stream.
Yep,
but
good for it.
But forgive them, Zeke. They know not what they do.
No.
They a lot of people do. Go ahead.
Do ask.
They don't. Well, a lot of the people. Our audience has grown, is what I'm trying to say, and a lot of people who might have had their question answered on a previous Realist Dev stream.
That's fine.
Just weren't here then, and so all good. We're gonna answer it for you again. PS4 clans. And by which they mean all console clans.
Yeah. Again, this is another feature that we really like right now. Clans is mostly a communication channel, and that's something that's really hard on consoles, right? See, most players on consoles don't have a keyboard, right? Yeah. So it's kind of a chat.
It's kind of a chat with a little. And we track your XP.
We want to make that better. We want to have cooler features involved with clan, and when we do that, that's when we're going to be looking to take that to consoles. Because right now, if we took it to consoles, it's mostly a tag.
It's going to be very underwhelming
and a chat that's really hard to use. And so we don't want to bring a feature to consoles and make a big deal out of it when it's not really going to deliver what people are after. Right.
Yes.
But we do have ideas on what we can do with it to make it more important, to do more fun stuff. Like we did, we recently did. We have crew battles, right? So I mean,
clan
obviously, clan-based crew battles would be amazing, right? It'd be amazing.
And we're all thinking it. We've been thinking it since day one.
And it's part of why we were looking at doing it, right? And so to us, these are kind of steps that we're taking to get to a place where we can expand the clan feature to something that makes sense to have for the whole community. Again, we're going to make this disclaimer a million times. That what that roadmap is, that's not something that's coming in months, right? That's something that is going to take a long time for us to kind of develop and flesh out and get enough momentum into it that we can start moving it forward.
It's going to be one of the longest features to implement because every console social system is a completely different thing.
Yeah.
So it does make it a little extra difficult. I know for a lot of people, the coolest thing about a clan is that it's a string of letters underneath your name that you get to pick. Yeah, and that's like not the priority. The reason for clans is much more than that, right? Yeah. And in fact, strangely enough, I was in the community playing before I was a developer when clans were really at their highest, and that was before an official clan system existed. That was us just putting tags next to our name. BMG did it too, right? We all had little tags next to our names, and then we would host tournaments in the community of the clans fighting each other and stuff. And weirdly enough, that all stopped when it became a feature in the game. Yeah, and we want to do that again. Like that was fun. We need to bring something like that back, and it's going to exist in the game and be cooler than ever because of it. But it's a huge feature. And so
it's going to take a big chunk of time to.
But it's coming.
Rolling,
like the final form of Brawlhalla has a really significant clan feature in it.
We definitely still want to do it.
So cool. Boom. We're hitting them with all this. Ban Scythe. They want to ban Scythe, Dino. Let's do it right now. This is it. We can just say the word.
Listen, just because I'm not good at it doesn't mean we should ban it.
No, Scythe is hype. Scythe gets me the most excited when the combos start happening on stream. So
it's insane. Oh, I can't play against it either.
Oh, a gifting system. That's I could answer that. We would love that. It takes that's different on every system, and it's a huge thing. But we want you to be able to buy a thing and then give it to your. You know how many gifts I would have bought by now if it was a feature? Yeah.
It's also
where are we on that
feature that is deceptively hard to get right because there are a lot of things you can open up with a gifting feature that become not good for the game, and so it's one that
would need to be pretty restrictive.
To be very simple,
yeah, we don't want to make a market out of it and stuff. That's not good. It's not good. But
yeah, I mean, again, these are all the good news is we're here. The team size has only grown.
Yeah.
And there is an unending list of things that we are going to do to Brawlhalla to make it better.
Yes.
We never stop working on the game. We never stop adding improvements as we go. And so through time, we're going to get to all these really cool features.
There are a lot of cool features. All right, chat. We answered the ones that were getting spammed. Thank you for that. Let's answer the ones on Discord that people very politely put in and according to the system that we designed and everything.
Which was awesome. Thank you so much both for setting that up as a place for people to get questions to us ahead of time, and for everybody who sent those questions in. It's great. I mean, I can get up here and talk about Brawlhalla for forever. I mean, that's it's what I do.
That's the plan.
So having these questions to go through is awesome. Maybe we can get to some of the things that are top of mind for people.
We have a bunch of questions here from the Discord that we intend on going through. 40-something questions in here. Hopefully we can get through.
That's going to be tough.
At least the good ones. Let's go from the top of the list here. Here's one.
Yeah.
Are there any new features that BMG wants to add to the game that haven't had the chance to be implemented yet?
Yeah, I mean, we just went through a bunch, right?
Well, yeah. So there's console clans, account linking.
Yeah. I know what you're going to say, though.
But I have one. I have a couple esports related features that on day one. I mean, I was hired as the esports director. I'm like, all right, in-game feature ideas. Here we go. And I'm still waiting on a couple of them.
Yeah, go for it.
But okay, the biggest one, and here's one I really want to tell you guys about. In-game tournaments, right? In-game tournament feature. Now, I'm not just saying that the system that's happening on Smash GG needs to be in Brawlhalla. Not at all. In fact,
Although,
way cooler. Although
some of that would be really nice,
it
right?
would, yeah. I mean, yeah, like not having to report your scores is a goal, right? Just the game knows what happened and it just moves on its own. That would be great. But in-game tournament feature would look a lot cooler than maybe exactly what you're thinking here. The plan for it is don't tell anybody, guys. Okay, here's the plan. And again, it might not be at all. None of this might happen at all.
Once it goes through the grist mill of development.
One big thing we want to happen, or I want to happen with this in-game tournament feature specifically is that it's not just one big tournament that everybody participates in. It's a tournament that happens maybe a few times a day, maybe a few times a week, but everybody gets on when they want to compete in this tournament time. You register for it by just pressing a button in the game. Yeah. When the time comes, the game just tells you your tournament is started. Press A to join the lobby, and it throws you into the lobby with your opponent and gives you a timer to select your people and get going. Yeah. Right? All of that would be super. That'd be great. But one big thing about this feature that I want to happen is that it's not just one big bracket. It's many small brackets all happening at the same time with people around your elo. Yeah. It gives a lot of people an opportunity to win. Maybe they earn a currency that's specific for the tournaments. Maybe we make cool items. I know I'm overstepping my bounds right now.
Yeah. I like that. I like just zoomed in on my face, just like, let's get the reaction. No, this is good. But this is the kind of thing, there's so many cool things that we could do with that system. It's the kind of thing that will be it'll be a great add to the game. It'll have, it'll give people stuff to dig into. Like what you were talking about is really important to me because me joining one bracket for a tournament is not.
That's what's happening right now.
It's going to be 2 losses and I'm out.
What I would tell you is competitors improve by competing and just get in there and do your best. Maybe you'll get some wins.
That's right.
But no, you're right. I would like an opportunity for people to compete and people to have their chance at glory. And to expose the general population of Brawlhalla to competing in tournaments. Yeah. Grow our esports. Yeah. It all comes back to esports. Let's be real. It always comes back to esports.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay, so boom, we crossed that one out. Is there any one of these you want to... We can just go down the list on the next one.
Let's see. Any plans to bring back old, unused party mode? Bigger is better. Ice hockey. Oh, yeah. So,
wow.
Okay. That was
whoever asked
stuff.
That is old school.
Yeah,
they saw
that was
the one dev stream.
So that was kind of what Photo was talking about when we did some of the on-game dev stream stuff or on-stream dev work. We had this idea a while ago of doing like a party mode with shorter, maybe sillier or kind of more free game mode ideas, and so you could queue up or get together with your friends and run through like 5 or 6 of these just to see who's the champion of kind of almost like a decathlon, decathlon with kind of lighter
little party
games.
mode, little fun.
And so there, some of those were kind of fun. Some of those were crazy. The ice hockey one was crazy. Like that was
like a whole
you didn't
game.
even. It was so cool. Like I think
I liked Woo Do You Do. That was my
favorite. You could just move up and down on that one. So you were playing on like a skewed ice rink map, like the old Nintendo ice hockey game.
Yeah.
Where so there wasn't like jump or anything, and there wasn't gravity. You weren't falling down. But it totally worked. So a lot of what those have transformed into is when we do Brawl of the Weeks. Right, and we come up with new wacky game modes for Brawl of the Week, or when we do crossovers, we always try to pair up a really cool game mode that kind of speaks to that crossover, and then also just kind of adds to the breadth of things you can do in the game. Mm-hmm. I do still think it's an interesting idea to maybe, aside from just the rotating featured Brawl of the Week, to maybe try to kind of string some of those together into some sort of a
session, like a little session, earn points, and it carries over to the next one, and who's the winner at the end.
It could be cool. I mean, none of that is in motion right now. Really, the simple answer is that Brawl of the Weeks and the new game modes that we do there kind of took up the space that we originally thought party mode was going to fill. Yeah. That's just kind of how the natural evolution of the game went.
Yeah. But party mode hopefuls remain hopeful because you never know.
Well, we definitely will be working on new, cool, fun game modes
sure.
in Brawlhalla.
Yeah.
That will continue to happen. Yeah.
Okay, moving on with Discord questions. Are there any special events coming up in Brawlhalla?
Oh yeah. It's just this whole year is just special event.
Well,
after
you
special
already
event,
know
special
a bunch of the events, right?
Yeah.
There's gonna be a spring event. The's gonna be a summer event.
Yeah,
back to school
back
will
to school,
happen.
all those. We've got all
Luck of the Brawl will happen.
all the tournaments.
That's an event. When the
Yeah.
that's an event in Brawlhalla.
Yeah.
At least how we define it.
Yeah.
Is there a new special one? I don't think so.
Oh, you mean like a new seasonal event this year? I think was last year the first year we did spring.
Yes, that was a new one last year.
Yeah, so we added spring last year. I don't know that we have a new. We're open to ideas. If your favorite holiday,
I'll say if we end up able to do an in-person BCX this year, like we're planning, then I'm gonna take over the whole in-game menu, man. We're gonna go.
We got anniversary ties into that, right? Like,
yeah. It's gonna be a whole thing in the game.
Event.
So that'll be. Yeah, previously as anniversary, if we can have our first in-person BCX and have it be our first LAN back and able to do all of that, then I think we'll tie anniversary in more with like esports. It'll be a pretty esportsy kind of event. So maybe that answers your question. What else we got? Are you planning on a ranked update in the near future?
Well,
we did a ranked update
future
recently.
is a fuzzy term.
Yeah.
But I'll go ahead and say that we are looking at updating how ranked works, and I don't really want to get into the specifics of kind of the ideas that we're going after, because it can. There's a lot of different ways that it could go, but we do have some pretty concrete ideas that we're pretty excited about. The new rank is always a contentious question. This one is one that is tough to weigh, like where you kind of draw those lines. Like when you have the current system working, and it's something that involves so many people and is kind of, there's a lot behind how that system works. Yeah. It gets kind of scary to change it too much. And when you start looking at what you want to do with the new rank, it's like, what are you really trying to incentivize with the new rank, right? And so where would you put it? Is it going to be something that's only for the most
top
ultra
.something% a new achievement?
Or is it, which I think is what most people are talking about when they're talking about a new rank.
And there's a lot of diamond players out there, and diamond players know that you're in a severe minority. That's something I've learned. The amount of diamonds seeking a new rank seems like a lot. Yeah. There's a couple of us. But
a lot of it is tied very heavily with how the system is engineered from the ground up. And so we're kind of re-looking at how that is built to see if there is a new direction we can go. Yeah. And if there is, it can kind of change those rules dramatically.
I think there's a few things that we can say about that, at least, and that is things that change how the rank system works. One big focus of this, at least, is going to be the new player experience. Yes. Right? Because honestly, I'm surprised sometimes that people make it through as far as they do. If you're a new player, you're starting at 1200 elo, and you're going to get rocked. Like a lot before you get to where you're supposed to be. And by the time you get to where you're supposed to be, you're 0 and something, and you're feeling really bad. Yeah. And the game basically told you you're below average because you started at 1200. Yeah. So that's like a huge thing that the game needs to fix for the health of the game. It's fine. Things are going fine without it. Yeah. But that's going to be a big focus, is make the new player experience nicer. Get people fighting the people they're supposed to be fighting sooner. Yep. Get you to where you're supposed to be, and in both directions, right? If you're a super low level player, we want you to fight against other low level players. Trust me, they're out there. There's a lot of people playing this game. Yeah. Just because you died at 1200 does not mean you are below average. That's just the number that we started you at, because we need to start it somewhere, and it's using an existing system. ELO is a system. We did not invent the ELO system, right? It's like a zero-sum, clear-cut, super easy system, which is why we used it. That's right. And it certainly has served us well, but on both ends of the spectrum, the new player experience and the old guard, the gods of this game who destroy the ladder, they need something too that incentivizes them
Yep.
playing, and you know, tournaments are the end game. Tournaments are the end game. 30
Yep.
minutes already?
That's
Oh my
crazy.
gosh. Okay, tournament. We've only gone through a couple of questions. Tournaments are the end game for competitors. I'll say if
Yeah.
you're at Diamond, you're like, this game's too easy. Like, hey, the adventure starts at Diamond.
Yeah.
Here's one change that I want to make immediately. I see your eyes widening up. Here's a big one, right? And I think this will help a lot. Diamond. A lot of people see Diamond as the finish line. I see it as the starting line, right?
Right.
You're welcome to the new tier of competition now. You're in Diamond.
Gotcha.
What I want to do is, right now, a lot of people might not know this, but when you get to top 249 globally, a new UI window pops up on your rank screen that tells you what rank you are. Now, one problem with it is that it's global. I don't think we should be comparing different different ladders
Got it.
to each other. It doesn't make any sense anymore. It used to back in the day.
Right.
But now it's different, right? So first off, we're gonna make that number be region based. Your rank X in North America, in US East, or in Europe, or whatever it is. And then also, I think maybe we start showing that rank as soon as you hit Diamond, whatever the number is. Instead of top X, it's just how many people are in Diamond right now? 1,000. You're rank 1,000.
There's more
and
to what you're
immediately
doing,
you hit that finish line, and you're like, wait a second, I'm only rank whatever.
Yeah.
Now every game you play affects. You'll see specifically how far up and how far down you get on the ladder.
And I think there's also, again, just it's been about 2 minutes since we given the disclaimer that we want to talk, we want to be behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And so when we start talking about these ideas, and I'm going to say some real pie in the sky stuff here in just a second about this. That might not last the first day of discussion, right? We might start talking about it and be like, oh, this turns out it won't work. But another thing that if you look at, if we get that in-game tournament system, it's something that can help alleviate that. Well, what do you do as a Diamond player when you get to the end, right? Because then we can actually point some of those tournaments at certain. We can be like, okay, well, here's this gap between getting to Diamond, being a top player in ranked, and going to the official tournaments. Right, there can be this gap in between. That's like, here's this road where now we've got these in-game tournaments running, and so now you can really start getting into that mindset
and potentially in-game rewards.
Right,
you'll be able to show off that I'm Diamond, but I'm a little more than Diamond.
Right.
Here's my accolades, you know, and you'll be able to see it in the game.
So all of that is just kind of brainstorming. Just sort of that's how we kind of look at some of these features and how they can line up together, and none of that is a promise of what will actually make it through when we get to the end. But
here's an easy one: do codes have an expiration date? No, but if you have a code sitting around from 8 years ago, there is a greater than 0% chance that we need to eventually decommission it to make room for new things. So
there's no imminent date, but they can be reclaimed.
There may be some point where your old White Fang Nash code from 20 years ago might not work. Maybe, it's just, maybe they have to be for database reasons. Because, believe it or not, no, I'm sure you can believe it. Viewership rewards are creating an insane number of codes. And it's starting to get to the point where they're asking me, what is the number? It used to be pretty infinite, and now they're like, wait, there's a budget. There's a little bit of a budget.
Yeah, so there's no explicit date, but we do need to go back and reclaim some of that stuff. So, it can happen.
So the answer to do they have an expiration date is barely, but pretty much no. I mean, if you're worried that I'm getting a code from a friend and I don't know if it's gonna work, it's gonna work. I mean, we still haven't reclaimed any, and there's no date for it yet, but one day maybe.
There's a good one here for how do we, from beginning to end, how do we look at the battle pass? How do we design the battle pass? Well, that's big.
That's a whole stream worth of answers.
I can give a. We hook it on. We find a story kernel that we like and we're really excited about, and we kind of hook everything
build a theme
around that. Like the last one, the theme was very, very clear, right? They kind of we had this lingering Orion Artemis story, and we thought, we could really build that out to this kind of expanded universe, and have there's so much cool stuff we can do with it. And then also functionally, we go in and we look at We look at specifically at like the missions, the quests. We look at what people did or what people recycled. We look at how far people made it in progress for those missions, and we try to come up with some to make things a little bit better. We try to like phase out some of the ones that were less popular and come up with a couple of new things as well. And then the team really just starts coming up with all these different ideas. We try to get some of those missions kind of related to what the theme is as well, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to go in because there's such a strong kernel of an idea for the basis for each of those battle passes that we really can just bounce
we
off
get
of
the
that.
most lore rich around that time, and it's that's where it feels, we work on a fighting game, right? And so there's like little opportunity, I think, for like telling you story, and battle pass is that time where we really get to. It feels
it's
like
there. I can tell you
for a day or two we're designing an RPG where like this is happening over here, and that links to this story over here, and
it's
that's
all
kind
there.
of
Big balance changes.
like what's in there right now could be considered a balance.
Yeah, it depends on if you're talking about like how much force a certain hit does or something like that. Usually we're pretty dialed in on what those are going to be, so those don't wind up going through experimental. But we save experimental to do kind of the bigger balance changes, like what we're testing out with Dodge right now, right? Which
Exactly is what's happening now.
And that's where I think that's where we first started with it. Actually, was with Dash, right? That's where we really start. These are like these are things that are fundamental changes to how the balance of Brawlhalla holds together, and so that's the kind of thing that we target for going through experimental. And just the simple answer to that question is yes, we have multiple batches of these that we are targeted to. Once we work through what's in there now and decide what to do with it, we have the next batch and kind of the next batch already sort of figured out.
Okay, have you considered making a story mode? Every day I consider it. Every day that I'm looking for a game to play with my buddies, and we're like, what cool co-op games have come out? I'm like, oh, Brawlhalla could just have the best one. Oh, if we just, but it's so much work. I want to say one day eventually it is gonna be so sick. It's not just gonna be some boring little story mode. We have like this awesome net code, and you could play with 4 to 8 people. It could be this cool co-op adventure. It could be a whole new product on Steam, but it'll probably just be a thing in Brawlhalla.
I think that's right.
That's gonna be so sick.
I think that's right.
But like no timeline at all.
It's
not
also a
something
big project.
Actively...
It's basically, we toyed with the idea of doing kind of a lighter version of that a long time ago, and it became very, very clear very quickly that that's not really what we were interested in.
And it should, it should be bigger. Yeah, we did design up a quick little like walk through the level and fight a boss, and it was like if we got this out for a game mode, it's gonna be underwhelming.
I love
it needs
people
to be
just,
a whole big thing.
They're just watching my face for when you say stuff. That's like what the stream has turned into. I love it.
That's how you know this is a real dev stream. This was not rehearsed beforehand.
That's right.
We didn't see these questions till like now, and we certainly never talked about how they're coming up. But that's how real it is. That Dinohedron is like worried about what I'm going to say next because we have no idea.
It's good. It's good. Hey, Sora, it's good seeing you too. It's good seeing you.
Solo queue and rank 2v2. Wait. Well, that's not a question here, but I saw Pavelski ask it. Oh, we love Pavelski, so solo queue and rank 2v2. Is that ever going to happen? We're talking about it recently. That's how real this is. Like a last week conversation, right? Look how real this dev stream is. We started talking about it in terms of the rotating ranked queues, like crew battle. A lot of people wanted to be able to queue with random people in crew battle. We decided against it, and I'll say that I was personally pretty against the idea of that because you don't have control of your character immediately, and it only takes one lever to completely ruin it, and it's ranked. So like having, it sounds like that would be fun, but like as soon as you get one guy who doesn't care on your team, you're gonna curse the whole system because they just costed you elo, and it doesn't matter when you don't care about elo, but it's ranked, and the idea is you eventually start caring about elo, and just having one lever totally ruins it. Now it's different in ranked 2v2 and different in other game modes than crew battle. I think maybe crew battle is like the one exception where no way, just because of how it works, it's gonna cause problems with newcomers on that. But ranked 2v2, No, I mean by design, it was very intentional that we didn't have, we didn't allow the griefing that could come with that. A lot of you guys have
It's
played games that have you team up with random people, and that's the first thing that you get mad at is the random guy that you got queued up with. I blame them for everything.
Yeah.
And we didn't want that negativity floating around everywhere, especially in rank 2v2 when it came out originally. It was for a very small player base, and it was very intentional in how it was supposed to do. But I'll say that something we started talking about recently is making the teammate queuing
Yeah.
smarter. Right now, when you queue up with a teammate for like whatever, there's friendly 2v2 is a good
Yep.
example. It's just grabbing the first available person. That's not good enough for ranked. It needs to be smarter than that, and it needs to do more. And we're talking about maybe doing that, and maybe that's a thing that comes out eventually. Just know that it's being talked about more than ever.
Juan Gana had a good follow up question that was, why is it different for Kung Foot and for Brawl Ball? And the reason is we look at them. We look at it. It depends on the way the game is built and what the goals of the game are.
Yeah.
So it is much easier when it is like competitive stock with friendly fire. It is much easier to be griefed in that mode than it is when it is something where there's a different objective.
Right.
And
The bots in Kung Foot are really good, so it was a pretty safe bet to let the bot play for whoever just left.
Yeah.
The bots are actually really good in Kung Fu.
And kind of the short answer is we want as many people to be able to play in as many ways as possible, and so we try when we think it has a good chance of working, we try to leave that open. It's just that there are specific cases where we feel like the frequency of griefing or the ease of griefing increasing the frequency of griefing is kind of too high for it to work. So that's kind of all the stuff that we churn through when we're trying to figure out.
The 10-minute warning?
It's crazy,
dude.
Well, we're gonna have to.
Okay,
we're gonna have to.
There's
do
a lot of
follow-ups.
fun questions in here. Like, if you could talk to any legend, who would it be? And we're gonna.
It's Core.
That would be fun. Okay.
I would talk to Core. I think it would just be very peaceful.
But let's. I know there's some real hard hitting questions in here that people want us to answer, and before we run out of time, let's look for the tough ones.
Well, we can answer. There's a whole bunch of tough questions that are sneak peeks at content that's coming up, and we can kind of answer those with, sorry. You'll stay tuned.
We
will preview them when we get closer to what's happening, but we would get yelled out of the office if we started talking about things that were coming.
There's a
that
bunch of
haven't
things
been
we
announced.
can't. Yeah, metadev sneak peek. We literally don't know. We figure
weapon,
that out at
yeah.
the last hour. The latest we can possibly figure that out is when we figure out what the
next
metadev
crossover,
is.
next legend, next
Queen 9. Metadev Queen
all
9.
Of that is.
I put my vote in.
Nah.
It's usually Des being like, I want this one, and then an artist being like, well, here's the one. And sorry if it's not the one you wanted.
Yeah. Somebody asking about Prime Bundle. Prime Bundle should be coming soon. They run about a month before the next one comes out, and I think we have one. I think we have one more queued up. Maybe more. Don't quote me on that one. Yeah, soon TM.
Soon TM. Why do big game changes come so slowly? Well,
I think you talked about that a little bit. So and there's two. So big game changes. There's two things involved in that. One is that Brawlhalla is a massive game with a long history and a lot of momentum to it. And so there's, it's a good game. It's working well. We always analyze the balance in the game to make sure if something starts creeping up, we can kind of adjust for that. And so doing changes that are so fundamental that they kind of radically change the whole game all at once
that's risky business.
It's very risky, right? Because we have a whole
something you like
player
might
base.
Destroy the game for somebody else, and they never play a game.
It could.
Never play again.
And so that's why we do try to focus on things that are going to change things or address long-standing issues, and that's where they kind of go through the experimental queue.
You can see it starting to happen.
Right.
Like, we're changing the dodge cooldown,
which is crazy.
Every person presses dodge a lot in the game. And
haven't.
That's scary, honestly.
We haven't touched dodge since the dash changes, right? Like it is that
which
core to
was why
the game.
experimental got created in the first place.
And then the lead times are another part of that too. Like once we have identified something, once we have had enough time to test it and make sure it's doing what we want it to do, and we don't have these kind of accidental oopsies. Even if it's a change that's good, it's just guaranteed there's edge cases that we haven't found or that we haven't been able to find.
At that point, half a year is a quick turnaround time for that, and that just seems like forever. Like, why can't you just get in there and change it and push the change? It doesn't work like that anymore. I think maybe the person who asked that question is an old school guy who remembers what it was like when we would talk about something and then do it in a week, because
it used to be that was before
it was just us and Steam.
That was before we had as big of an audience, and it was just one platform. Steam, you can just patch immediately.
And we were literally in beta, so it was like fair game for the change to change for the game to change a bunch.
So part of that is
it's
just
all much more methodical.
How big the audience is now, how many people are in and enjoying Brawlhalla, and making sure that what we're changing is going to be a good positive change for the game, and then the process of being on 6 platforms at the same time. All of this just kind of means we have to roll with that momentum, and we nudge it and we change it as we need to, but it's just it's not as rapid as it was back in, I remember days when we launched a patch and we patched 3 or 4 times in the same day, right? Like that was crazy.
That was crazy. Yeah, that was 2 a.m. on a Wednesday. Well, a Thursday morning. Yeah. That was crazy. Will Ghost Mode ever be available on custom games? Probably not, because Ghost Mode breaks a rule about Brawlhalla, and it's that it won't work in local. Like, because you're supposed to not be able to see the other guy, it kind of doesn't work in local mode. There might be some way we can implement it, but specifically it's a Brawl of the Week, because Brawl of the Week can anticipate that you are your own client and not able to see the other person's screens physically. Yeah, that's pretty much
that's the biggest issue.
It would just be a weird thing to add to customs. Now there might be something we can do, like if it's 2v2 and your teammates on your side, then that's going to work totally fine, which is exactly why the 2v2 Ghost Brawl queues allow you to team up with a local player, because it doesn't break the experience in that way. Okay, on to the next one. Will the experimental dodge changes be pushed to live? I don't know.
We'll have to defer to TWK.
Yeah, I think it's looking good.
There is a lot of positive that we see in those dodge changes. I think there are some edge cases and some changes that he's evaluating right now.
And it needs to be considered.
And it has to be. It has to be. It's so big. It's so fundamental. We have to make sure that one is right before it. But we did see a lot of positivity in both reaction and in what it was doing to the game. We really like the idea of simplifying that and making it more understandable, more predictable, removing some of the repetitive on ground. There's a lot of good benefits to it.
Yeah. And then and like you said, there's just a couple little edge cases that we need to consider. Okay, will there be a tutorial revamp?
Yes, working on
it. Yes, and it's gonna be cooler than some boring little tutorial that's like press X to do whatever.
Hey,
no, it's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be way better than that stupid tutorial we have now.
I was part of that team. This is way cooler.
The tutorial we made was like we were being quick about it. I'm sure we would have liked to do more, but it needed to get out the door. It was for PS4, right? We needed it before our first console launch. And it got the job done. But we want more out of it.
There is some very fundamental teaching going on.
So it's
very low level early concepts. But we've got some.
Right now,
there's some really cool stuff that's in progress.
The whole thing that's cooking up now is like it's a whole different system. It's not just tutorial. It's like it's a whole different system.
It's very cool.
Well, we'll see about it. Hopefully, there's not enough. Like we can't even show you anything with it yet if we wanted to. But I don't know. In a couple months here, maybe on the next Realist Dev stream, maybe we'll have a demo of it to show.
Maybe.
Blanket statement. blanket. I'm in a blanket.
We're so far down the road of like making stuff up that
5-minute warning. Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right.
Will there be more customization items for characters or profiles in the future?
Probably. We really love adding to the way people can express themselves into the game. I can think
that's a win for everybody.
I can think of a couple of things that might fall into that category that we're working on.
I've thought of a few things. Auras.
No, I didn't.
Halos.
I didn't mean I could make up some stuff right now. I'm thinking of some things that we're working on that kind of go in that direction. But yeah, we love adding ways for people to sort of show off how long they've been in the game and kind of make their experience unique.
Yeah, titles was one of those things, right?
One,
if you asked us that question a little over a year ago, I'd have told you we're going to add a title system that's going to help you customize and show off your stuff in the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, titles is one of them. There's probably going to be more. I'll go ahead and leak something on this stream here. I'm going to leak something. We are planning on, and I say we are planning on because it's not there, and I haven't asked anybody for permission yet. But nameplates is an item that rarely gets to be used. It's used in battle passes and it's used for some founders packs and stuff. I am planning on putting a esports nameplate in there, and
interesting.
The face that that Dinah is making here is not too bad. I think we got a shot here, guys. We'll see. But yeah, maybe for BCX, maybe for something really big. A nameplate will be a esports viewership reward item. Now that's a toughie because that's a rare one.
Okay, all right.
Sorry for springing that up. We should have talked about that before.
No,
the stream.
You know, this is what the real stream is for. That's what it's for.
Real. This is super real.
Somebody's asking about option to use training mode instead of waiting in the lobby. This another thing that we talk about frequently. Like what we can do with that screen, like especially like if you are higher in elo and you have to wait a little bit longer for queue times, there's maybe some interesting stuff that we can do there. Whereas right now it's just kind of like the training bots, and so maybe we're not sure.
Yeah. If you're in a queue and you're waiting any amount of time for the queue, that is not the usual experience. You must be very high elo, queuing at a really crazy time, or in like Japan where we have a small player base right now.
We have
usually you're in the queue for 2 seconds and you fly through.
For low Wangana's right. Yeah, for low elo it wouldn't really come into play. We have messed with some of the behavior of the bots that's in there to try to make that experience just like a little bit better, and to sort of, it's not really to be a training mode, but to allow you to practice a little bit better than right now. It's just kind of a 4-player.
It just throws you
free for all, right? It's a little chaotic, but and so we might pick some of those ideas back up and polish them off and roll some of them out. But
yeah, we've done so.
No specific plan for
a lot of people are like, if I'm in a 1v1, just throw one bot at me, or if I'm in a 2v2, throw 2 bots at me with a teammate.
Yeah.
And the stuff that we've been talking about is like a little more than that. Like we want to make it a little bit smarter. But it's
and we also want to try to make it clear, like for new players especially, it can be kind of confusing because you queue up and then you're playing.
Think you're fighting people.
Think you're in the game. Yeah. Think you're in the match, and
that's maybe the biggest thing to address about this is how a new player would read the whole situation of getting thrown into a match with 3 things. Because I know a lot of my friends who have tried it for the first time are like, whoa, I wasn't ready, and it's like, relax.
Well, it's okay.
We're just in a queue right now.
Just chill. Yeah. Yeah. So there's definitely some stuff that we could do there. I see a couple questions about servers with Africa or Amina. We kind of evaluate that as we go. We have some ideas on how we might be able to expand that without it being. Sometimes it can be risky if you launch a server in a region, depending on what the population is. You have to have enough of a population to support it. So that is something that we keep an eye on, and we're trying to find ways to I mean, we're always trying to find better ways to improve how our servers are doing. Like that's just a constant thing that we do, and so this is one of those things that's in that bucket.
Okay. Yep, that's good. We have been told there's a 1 minute. Okay, we gotta pick one more. Will you ever do an animated show?
Oh man. Oh,
I have been waiting forever.
I mean,
so I hope so. But
I think it's pretty clear that we love animation.
Yes, and, that 5-year anniversary animation, we want that on Saturday mornings.
It was so good. Whoever asked this question, I agree with what I assume you're.
That was Steven. Steven logged on an alt.
Yeah, that's all right. We would love to. We would love to.
Yeah,
it would be amazing.
We really would love to. Okay, we're of less than 1 minute right now. One more question, and it's literally the last one on this menu on this sheet here. Do you like ducks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like ducks.
Ducks are cool.
Yeah. They're a lot, especially when they get like all the pretty iridescent colors on on mallards and stuff.
Cool. Yeah. And Hugin, I mean, come on, right?
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it's not
DJ
muted.
Doc. Yeah.
Do you
got it.
see
Yep,
how?
Yep. Got it.
That's real.
That's good.
That's real.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah.
Well, we really
like
hit
ducks.
all the hard-hitting questions on this one, I think. Um, we needed security on. We need to lock down security on the client
That's right.
yesterday. I mean,
Yep.
we needed to do that a year ago, right? We're growing. $1.3 million in prize pools this
It's a
year.
lot. Yep.
It's a really big deal that the matches are as secured as possible. With that being said, I know a lot of people saw that yesterday it started
Yeah.
getting enforced in tournament lobbies.
Yeah.
That was not a sneaky, let's put it in right before the tournament and screw over a bunch of people. That was a test.
That's right.
We know that it hasn't been performing very well for people. A lot of things have been changed on that. A lot of things are just in the software development kit that we received. We received a whole new one, right? So it's like we got a test, and that was just one quick initial test. Probably should have been communicated to players. A lot of people freaked out. Should have been communicated to players. Whoops. We'll communicate better about that stuff in the future. But don't freak out. You're not getting. We're not changing the performance of Brawlhalla on your computer the day before the Winter Championship. But a test needed to be done. The test, I think, has been concluded already.
I'm
If
not
not,
sure
it will
what
be
the end date
concluded.
is, but
It'll be concluded soon.
Yeah.
In any case, that does not mean that it's open season on the tournament. There are
That's right.
There are a lot of levels of anti-cheat or cheat detection or a lot of funny business that already gets detected at the base level on Brawlhalla without easy anti-cheat. Easy anti-cheat just gets everything, including like textures,
Yep.
stuff like that. Anyway, there. Needed to talk about that one because it's esports, and I'm
Sure.
an esports guy.
I think the other thing that I know we're like over time and we're probably going to get yelled at, but the other thing that is clear is we need to do this more often. Like we did this like in November,
I know.
and
We
it's
couldn't even
been
get through
too long,
all the
so
questions.
we need to do more.